to the 2400 Block Podcast with your host, Jonnyroobs.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode. Yes, it is the off season, but guess what? We make it 3 in a row. 3 in a row, guys. And for the very first time, I've removed my headphones, so I do not know how I'm going to sound like. But I did test myself earlier, trying to see how my voice would sound like on the mic prior to removing my headphones. And of course, I'm trying to maintain as much eye contact as possible. And no, I am not reading any script off of my screen. I am not doing that. Okay, guys. So if you want me to prove that to you, I am not reading a script. I'm looking at the map, the U.S. map that has a bunch of thumbtacks on there already. And if you're wondering why there's thumbtacks on the map, it's because I want to know where I've been during the last couple of years. And most of it is largely concentrated on the Midwest area because of work stuff. Work trips. So that's what happened during the last couple of years. And I am very thrilled with the fact that I get to visit these small towns or big cities in the tri-state area consisting of Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and so on. That's not even a tri-state area. That's like 4 or 5 states that I just named. And it's right there alongside near Lake Michigan. So, yeah, there you go, guys. I wish I could show the map one day, and I'll show it to you maybe with an alternate camera. With an alternate camera, I'm going to try to show it next time. I'm going to try to see if I could do 2 cameras at once. I have not experimented with that yet, but I hope to do that during the off season, as we are presently right now. And as you can see, I have removed my headphones. It does feel better. It doesn't feel like I'm stuffed or contained. So it's good to know that I've decided to let go for now of the headphones. I'm sure I'll be able to put it on again on the next podcast episode. But guys, I just want to talk to you for the next few minutes before I get called to do something. I know my girlfriend's about to get off of work very shortly, so I just want to go over a couple of things that I post on social media, and this one comes out of my private profile. So let me just read it to you guys. All right, here's a quote by Emile Zola. The quote is, "We are like books. Most people only see our cover. The minority read only the introduction. Many people believe the critics. Few will know our content." All right, guys. That's what happens in life. We are reminded to someone of something when they see us. Do they want to get to know us more? Do they want to pause and take a step back? Does our face remind them of the old times, of maybe at a point where we weren't our perfect selves back then? Maybe we were imperfect. Maybe we were making a lot of mistakes, going through trials in our lives. I know no one is made perfect, but I'm glad that there's always a day that goes by, for us to improve ourselves. So that's why I always enjoy waking up every day. I know sometimes when people look at themselves in the mirror, it's hard to tell whether they're happy or not. I guess it depends on your surroundings. It depends with the people you're with. And I think they determine everything of what you will become. But also, it even consists on losing people. Even that could be the biggest lesson in your life for yourself to change, for yourself to stand out more than you've ever been in your life. So this is how it is. Just like this quote here, I'm going to read it again. We are like books. Us, physically, face, body, in front of people. Most people only see our cover, so that's what they see. The minority read only the introduction. So yeah, a few will get to acquaint themselves with us. Some have already in our lives. Many people will believe the critics. Yep. And that's the part where people judge. They'll judge you for what you do, for where you've been, and for who you've been with, for who you were with by association. You get judged because of that. Doesn't matter what kind of lifestyle you live, whether you're, a very wealthy person or maybe just right down to, below middle income, below middle class, or even those that are, going through tough times without having a home. So yeah, it depends, who you interact with, how you deal with life, how you deal with situations, and how you treat others. And it's very pivotal now, especially living in the life we have now. It's even challenging. We know that everybody, are reserved to their own opinion. Some people like to state their opinion nonchalantly, but of course, you know, whatever we say from out of our mouths, it's gonna bite us back, and we just have to be very careful about that. I know when a bad reputation is done, it greatly affects that person, possibly for life. I mean, celebrities have endured that a lot. They've been through it all. So it's harder being in a celebrity's shoes compared to being the average person. As for myself, I'm not perfect either. I've gone through several phases of my life. I was developing. I was trying to make sense of the world, but I did not process it as fast as most people would. It took a little bit of a while, thanks to some mistakes, through some trials, through it all. It helped me get to where I am now. And I can tell you guys, it's good to just be yourself, to maintain that free spiritedness. Don't let nothing stop you from that. And to make use of your time. I know people matter to us in our lives, but you got to keep it a little bit condensed. Because if you spend it with the right people in your life, guess what? Things will progress. Definitely. Big time. And I know for a fact it does. I've attested to that. I've lived in Orlando. I started off fresh. I was coming off the heels of, someone that ultimately broke me down, that destroyed me. And that destroyed me emotionally. And it took a while to get out of that. I was like not talking to anyone, not even my best friends. And I was given this start to live in another state other than Virginia. So it was good to be in Florida at that particular point in time. I'm glad that it happened. It gave me a chance to reintroduce myself. Well, let's just say introduce myself, because these people that I've, come across with, they've only met me for the first time. So let's not say reintroduction. It's more of an intro. Letting them know who I am, and joining them and befriending them and fellowshipping with them. That ultimately changed my life for the better. And I would love to talk about it to anyone, because that is like one of the most greatest lessons that I've learned in my lifetime. Right now, I'm currently in another situation. I will note that later at some point in time. Not right now. I can't mention it right now because I'm still going through it. And yeah, I wanna read some more of another set of quote here. Another quote. Uh, well, before I do that, my my girlfriend has been given a gift from one of her workers. My girlfriend is a manager. She manages people for a company. And for the work crew, one sent this to her last Saturday during dinner, early dinner. And this comes from one of her workers. This is a really cool. If you can see it right now, it is transparent. It has beautiful colors. Uh, my girlfriend is the boss lady. And let me just read because it may not be readable to some. Maybe if I just point it to the camera a little bit more, you can see it. There you go. Inspirational, skilled, successful, difference maker, leads by example, influential, talented, dedicated, leader, compassionate, wise, amazing. And I can't read that part on the bottom. Let me look at it myself because I can't read that. Respected. Okay, respected. It's in cursive. Who writes cursive anymore? And motivating. So that described her pretty well. It's a great gift. I'm just sharing it with you guys. I want you guys to see that. This one's put on her side of the table. Me and her both, we both share the same table here, but it's a very long table. It's actually two tables here. One's for the podcast and one's for her work. And together, this is just one great environment. Okay, so yeah, it's great to have her alongside me while I'm taking care of my tasks here. But she never has done a podcast before, and I hope to get her on at some particular point in time, maybe this off season. This gives me a chance to somehow let people get to know her. And I would love to have her on this show. I still have not gotten her on this show, but she has been on an audio podcast with her sister and her sister's boyfriend. They did a podcast together, but I've taken that podcast out of the picture for the time being. Hopefully I can have all of them back on this time as a video podcast. But yeah, I took that episode out for the time being, but who knows? I might bring it back. Okay, so it is Tuesday. I'm wearing this white shirt. It is a contradiction to last week when I was wearing all black. So right now I look just as bright as the background. I'm probably blending myself well into the background. Okay, so let me read this next quote here. I know I was sidetracked, but let me get on to this next quote here. Let me read this. And I've gotten this from either people that have posted this on their Facebook or on their Instagram, or I'm just seeing it for myself on Instagram, and I would just like to talk about it with you guys. All right, here we go. Second one now. There are people that will never support you because it is you. Then there are people that will always support you because it's you. You just have to find your people. That's true. That's true, guys. That is so true. I mean, imagine if I was coming up to someone, here I am talking, doing my usual spiel. I would say to people, "Hey, would you like to be a part of my podcast?" You know, they would indicate some interest, but they don't really give a clear, definitive answer. Most likely, no, but they just don't want to say it to my face. It's okay. It's okay, man. I mean, some people are just not built for doing podcasts. Some people are shy. I get that. And sometimes I know that some people are just envious, like they don't want others to succeed. They won't support the other. Like one person would support the other and maybe buy their stuff because that's their friend. But when you start doing the same thing and asking that person, "Hey, would you want to participate in this or be a part of this or buy this?" They just stop from there. And you're pretty much just like what they said to it. It's what I said there on the very first quote. People look at you. People just will not take you seriously. People will not take me seriously, and I'm okay with it. That's just the way it goes. I mean, I don't know how I would have handled that if I was, younger, because I was still processing at that time. I did not get the world just like everyone does. I mean, look at all those um, classmates of mine back then. They were able to roam the malls. They were able to hang out at the video game arcade place. They were able to go to Blockbuster Video. It took me a bit of a while to get to where they are, and it was a slow pace. My mom and my dad, if he's around, they won't let me out as much. I was even given a curfew. There are some times I could last long. And I did. I mean, I admit I was in a nightclub. I've had some, great moments back then, but I come home around, 1 or 2 o'clock. Yet, despite not going to the club as much, I still wind up getting in trouble. It happens, man. But wow, man, I said so much during the last 15 minutes now, guys. And you see how it's improving without having to put on the headphone. Maybe it's better for me to just talk like this with you guys. I think this alone is just a great form of therapy for me to just talk in front of this camera, which I am still struggling to get by. But I feel I'm getting better as each of these episodes, these unofficial podcast episodes go by. I like that. I think it's cool. So, guys, I also want to bring this up to your attention for those that are around my age group. And by the way, the demographics of my podcast so far has been geared mostly towards males around my age or past my age, or even just a few years younger than my age. I would like to expand my podcast. Hopefully, I'll be able to open to different kinds of audiences as next season will roll along. But I want to tell guys right now my age, I know things will start winding down as we get older. I know we're going to, not gain enough people in our lives, but it's okay, guys. It's okay to slow down. Perhaps it is the time for us to slow down a little bit. As for me, I am learning to do that. I'm even learning how to sleep early at night, like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. I mean, back then I was like really lasting long, but because of certain things, maybe it's old age, maybe it's the shot that I got. My upper arms hurt when I get up early in the morning. Maybe it's because of that too. So, and I know I can sense that I've become different. I'm not like what I used to be. Compared myself to 4 years ago when I just started this podcast, I was on fire. I really had it going on. I really wanted to get myself out there. I wanted to get this podcast out there. It was all about having fun back then. We stayed home and there was really nothing to do. So it was good to have started that podcast and get my creative juice flowing, because had it not been for that, guess what? We wouldn't be where we are right now. And I'm thankful to just even one listener or even one viewer just watching this video. I thank you for taking the time to get to know me, to know my podcast, to know what this show is all about, which is mainly just having conversation or just getting to know a topic. That's all it is, basically. I mean, there's really no specific subject that my podcast handles, but I've been dealing a whole lot more about personal growth, personal development, coping through health, coping through emotions, mental wellness. I guess that's the better way of putting it. So it's good to tackle those alongside my team or maybe a specific guest. And I hope to, dabble more into getting serious with my guests, besides having those wonderful conversations that always just seems to go top notch. And I love every interview that I have done so far, talking to people, getting to know people. And like I said, I'm not sure if I said it on the last episode, but it's good for all of us to know each other, to make time to know someone. Just yesterday, I've gotten to know someone who's possibly having prostate cancer. Getting to know with him, getting to know his perspective, getting to know how he's feeling. And just today, I was talking to a traveling nurse. I mean, it's just nice to just hear perspective. It's just an awesome feeling, and I hope that many of us can get to know a fellow neighbor, a fellow friend, even if just a fellow stranger like those two. So I hope to continue on this podcast, doing the same thing, but pushing myself a little bit further more. And I am just blessed at the fact that I'm just getting this podcast out there, and even people now are just getting to know this podcast. I mean, I'm just looking at the recent plays that I've been getting so far. I mean, it's coming out of nowhere. There's been a little bit of some slowdown in terms of play because of the off season right now taking in effect. But it's good to know even at this certain point in time that people are listening, people are watching. So I'm very proud of the fact that this thing is still going on as it is, and hopefully season 5, when it comes in September, hopefully I'll continue to deliver and doing it with confidence. Okay, guys, so I appreciate you watching this podcast episode. I know it's very bright. I have just adjusted the light, trying to make it as better as possible. Right now, my head is like glowing on my head, so yeah, you can see a lot of glow going on because I placed the light a little bit out there, and you don't see too much of that O on my eyes until I go like this. Then you'll see a little bit of some light, but the O is pretty much looking down than looking directly at me. So yeah, it makes a difference when you take the O-ring light down a little bit. So that was good adjustment. I try to position it as good as I can. It just keeps popping off, but right now it's working in the podcast, so I guess it's doable right now. Okay, guys, that's it for now. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you take everything what I said and put it into your heart and put it onto your mind. And also knowing the fact that I have no headphones for this episode. I hope this goes through. I hope I sound good. And we'll continue more again next time around. So, guys, thank you for watching another Unofficial podcast episode. I'll catch you again real soon, guys. Bye-bye now.
Thanks for checking out this episode of 2400 Block Podcast. Don't forget to follow and subscribe.